So, I do feel a little bit better. I feel minorly better. Vocalizing, speaking about that. Obviously, we spoke about it with Ryan, but I haven't really talked about it much because immediately it's like it's like there's all the regular stuff, and then anything that's even slightly triggering or difficult is on top of the regular stuff. It's not like the regular stuff takes a break. So it's like, man, it feels so like we're just about treading water with the skill sets we have, and it's so easy to be destabilized, and then we're just like up, withdraw, take ages back to like days to get back on track and stabilize ourselves and each other. And like, man, it's so much. It's a massive fucking effort to try and like, I don't like, I'm not really sure how much of the time we're in our window of tolerance anyway. I'm not sure I know what that looks like, or if we're just like kind of used to survival mode so much that we think that's our window of tolerance. Like, we're treading water, okay, we're coping with the shit that happens, but it feels like we're really at the edge of our ability to cope. It's like a constant, it's constant full-time job, constant effort. So then when we got back, I like journaled, expressed the experience, worked out what bits I liked and didn't like. Um, Watched something a bit later on YouTube that had some triggers in it. I always think like I'd rather become resilient to triggers and learn to calm down after encountering them quicker. I always think the more I do it, the less impactful it will be, and the more easily and quickly I'll be able to do it next time. I think. I don't know. I'm not recommending anything. I'm just saying this is what I do in my thoughts and my theories. It's fucking so exhausting. Oh my god. Um. So it wasn't like massively unexpected or anything. I did think it could be triggering the content, and it was, but I didn't really expect it to like trigger what it triggered. Um. Because usually the thing is, I think the way the system's been set up to work is, I think we've been so fragmented in so many parts of ourselves, and it's like there'll be like a bit of sensory data contained within one part of me, and like a bit of a memory contained in another part of me, and like a thought process contained in this other part. Like, it's separated around so much within what was a subsystem and what is now like a very, very many clumps of person all sort of like bopping together trying to be one person. Like a big rubber band ball or something, like a slinky that's all tangled up, but as if that's what it's supposed to be doing, trying to make a ball. I guess slinky was a Play-Doh. I'm a slinky Play-Doh. uh, so it's, but there's so much fragmentation and separation between every aspect of an experience that when I get triggered, I think all parts of me are not, I think it runs separately throughout all parts of me, and like I might end up having a really distressing emotional experience as a young part of me, and then an older part of me might like suddenly have a lot of expectations and assumptions about how people around us now are going to respond, and have lots of insecurities, and like another part of me might have some sort of images like just mental images quick fired in. And what happened this time was like it's like all the pieces came together, and I had a video clip of just actual memory, sensory memory. It was like fucked. And just horrifying. Really fucking horrifying, including body memory sensation. The feeling that I couldn't make noise or breathe too loudly because I was in danger. The sort of vibe of the room turned into one of terror. Um, my own emotional response was very removed. So I feel like that was kind of still withheld away from me in another part, or just very dissociated. So it wasn't like as full blown as I think it might be in future if what I think how we're working is how we're working. But it was fucking intense, and it was like way more fucking visceral and real and tangible and like wholly combined in sensory information than what usually happens to me. It was fucking awful. And it was just like sights, sounds, vibes of the room, body sensations, thought processes a bit, and then just total derealization, like feeling like nothing was fucking real, feeling like I wasn't real, hit by like some pretty strong denial. It took me a few minutes of like I was just floating for a little while there. And once I like managed to spatula myself off the ceiling like a pancake that had been flipped too fucking high, I managed to like kind of revisit the memory, horrified and floating again, but managed to kind of ground this time with lots of Valentine's help. I managed to journal the experience down before the memory got pulled, so I could like bring it into conscious awareness more. And then just sitting there like decompressing in shock, like feeling like on the edge of a panic attack, just about managing again to tread water there so I didn't actually have a panic attack, but definitely feeling one. Really lightheaded, very lightheaded. Couldn't quite work out how to breathe, which was a new one. I didn't know I could forget how to breathe, but like I it breathing became manual, not automatic, is the best way I could describe it. And it was like I had to really focus on how to breathe. Every single breath was like under my complete control and would not happen unless I did it. Like I would just be not breathing. And if I held my breath for too long, then I thought I was going to go into a panic attack because lack of oxygen. So I was like very deliberately focusing on breathing, which I could stand to do now. Ah, tea, sweet caffeinated nectar of life. Some very deep breaths. Some how the fuck do I cope? Do you deal with this? Is this what it's like for you? Some what the fuck do I do about it? And him guiding me very well around what to do. No, I think it's far worse what he gets actually, but he did know what to do and what would help. I'm so fucking grateful, honestly. I have no idea. Much. God. And I feel like until I process the emotions of that event, I keep getting it like an intrusive thought. It just comes up, and it's so hard to not entirely reject it because it's it's fucking sickening. That was it. I felt physically like I was gonna throw up, but no real emotional response. This is what I'm like. There were physical responses. There was the body memories. There was a thought process. There was a vibe of terror in the room, but no like emotions in me. And I feel like to timestamp that experience as having passed and stop it reoccurring in the form of intrusive. I can't tell if it's an intrusive thought, intrusive memory, or like actual legit flashback. If I'm getting the visual and feeling it in my body and the room disappears for a second and I have terror all around me, there's probably a flashback, isn't it? Fuck, man. Yeah, I feel like I want to throw up every time it happens. And I'm doing my best to like not reject the experience, not reject the memory. Try to welcome the part of me holding that memory and all parts of the experience and pull them with me into my body now. I'm trying to like ground to the present, take notice of what's different in the room and what in the room is like indicative of this time zone, this period of my life, not then. I'm trying to pull myself out of it into now and here and in my body and ground through the senses and ground to the present and trying to do all of that without trying to avoid it and without trying to escape it because it feels like if I can hold space for it with me in the present, I can maybe process it. So that is what I'm going with and going for. It's fucking hard, man. Because you get a knee jerk reaction of just like, fuck off. Like, I'm going to throw up and fuck off. So to like unclench my stomach and register what I'm physically feeling in my body and be in my body with those sensations while the body memories are there as well and while the like memories flashing through in front of me. It's fucking tough, man. Doing really fucking well remembering to breathe during, and I'm I'm really fucking proud and impressed with every part of me for meeting this experience head on because it's overwhelming in every way and it's awful. And to think that it's that big and that awful, and to think I'm capable of processing that and meeting it and being with it, it's like so new for me to think that I could be even bigger and even of even more substance than it is when I can see how fucking overbearingly huge and filled with substance it is. To think that I'm even more than that. It's kind of a new path to tread. It doesn't come easy, and I do believe it wholeheartedly. I'm kind of in the meeting of those two experiences as one changes from the other, I guess. Acknowledging and sitting with and feeling the entire helplessness and hopelessness of that experience being so much bigger than we are, and acknowledging that now we're we're big enough to hold that and still be more than it and still be capable and safe while accepting and being with the total lack of safety that I feel from then, realizing it doesn't make me unsafe now or incapable now. It's a mix. It's a wild fucking mix. It's like entering unearthly fucking dimensions that I've never known. Both awful and horrifying and powerful and empowering, and I can't neatly summarize it. It defies neatly summarized explanations. I journaled after sitting there floating and, you know, dealing with this experience. It's just such a full-bodied, full experience. It's in no way two-dimensional. And then I did have moments of emotions after, like fucking rage and disgust and horror and grief and hopelessness and hope and relief. And then moments of having to distract my anxiety, because my anxiety was going, oh, I've forgotten to breathe. I have to do it all manually. I have to sit here and like physically manually breathe. And Valentine reminded me in what should not have been in any way comforting a sentence, but was like, you'll pass out at worst. And then your body will start automatically breathing again. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's true. And then I got into the rhythm of being able to breathe again, although it was a bit of force. I journaled all of this. Thank fuck. Really glad, because I forgot that I got emotions after the fact, actually. So that's like... Yeah. It feels like I get these memories start to integrate. And, like we fuse a certain ways, and then something like this is suddenly fully fleshed out and right there. And trying to process and integrate it blasts us apart. And I revisit it over and over again until it's like all parts of me can be there with it and hold it and understand what happened. And I'd forgotten that I did actually have emotional responses after that. And realizing that I'd forgotten that and reading them has brought the part of me holding those back. Like I've been floating since last night, since all of that. Wow. I didn't realize that I wasn't feeling my emotions still. I completely understand why I wouldn't have been, because my chest is very fucking weighed down with grief. And like this clean break feeling of relief. Think how you'd feel if you were to snap an icicle off your chest or something. It's hard to hold on to. Like, to not dart away, to keep all parts of me all here, feeling all of this. And remember to keep out of my head, out of my thoughts, just in my body, where it all sits. Draw my attention back to the physical sensations of the emotions. Accept the body memory sensations, but draw my attention to the sensations of physical emotions in my chest, in my stomach, in my throat. I feel so much fucking fierce determination that I'm gonna be here with these. Fuck you, motherfucking cunts, if you think that you can keep me, from my body. These fucking experiences can keep me distorted and fractured and unable to contain the multitudes of who I am, so that I live a sad, pathetic husk of a life like you know. Fuck off. No chance in hell. And I can feel those thoughts like fire, and it just keeps me here, no matter how fucking intense and awful anything feels in my body. I feel that stronger. I'm not going to be forced out of my own fucking home in here. I'm gonna learn to exist and embody everything I feel and everything I am. And I'm going to live the kind of fucking full, meaningful, existent life in depths and layers that the people who did this to me couldn't even dream of. Because they're not gonna win. And that is gonna be how I fucking win. Not like it's a game, but like it's a war. It can feel like everything in us protectively wants to escape and to distract everything that lives inside of us. There are sensations inside me that, like, I feel the drive, the need for them to be seen and experienced and felt and heard, when we've had a fucking lifetime of them being sidelined and ignored. And still everything in me wants to protect me from seeing and feeling what's there. Even by describing and intellectualizing what I'm experiencing instead of just sitting with it. It becomes like a frequency. It starts with like a vibrating or a buzzing. It becomes like this roaring, humming sensation in my head and my chest, and like all of me that just radiates out. Feels like it demands to be seen and heard and noticed, and every part of me tries to escape and hide and withdraw and distract in in insecurities, in thoughts, in darting things to notice here and there. Did I leave the stove on? Is this too much to record? Have I remembered everything? Anything to escape that frequency fucking blazing out, because it's so much. It's like it doesn't compute how to be with it. And I'm just gonna be with it as it is, even if that includes being overwhelmed by how much it is. I watched a video once that said something like, if the sensation feels too much, too big, like you can't understand it being in your body, it doesn't, and it just numbs out, you can visualize it radiating out into the room or the neighborhood, the town, the fucking country, the continent. I'm gonna do that and just breathe and draw myself back to the physical sensations in my body over and over again until I feel exhausted.